Hey guys. All right. So I decided to do it on StreamYard. What can I say? It was a pain in the ass. I was gonna go live on TikTok actually, which I might do. I might do later tonight. I'm gonna start filling up these these days with shows for real. I got no choice. I got to build some type of I got to build some type of hold up. Wait. Oh, okay. I don't even know what I was saying. I don't remember anymore. But we only got 21 people. We'll get more people in here. I was going to go live on TikTok. I said, fuck it, like I was saying a minute ago. And, I decided to do this on StreamYard. And I'm going to try to start doing it more and more on just straight from YouTube if I can. It kind of sucks because you can't pull up comments, you can't play videos, stuff like that. But that's how these people get the subs they do. Like that guy, Matt, that homeless guy, how do you think he does it? You know what I mean? You can't fucking be scrolling through YouTube lives without coming across his thing. It's just the way it is. I mean, I don't know how Tony fucking Pizza doesn't have a million fucking subs. Not literally a million, but a lot. Considering all his shows are done from his phone. And it's weird. It seems like it doesn't really work when I'm at my house. But if I'm in my car somewhere, every time I go live from somewhere else, the chat fills up with people that I've never seen before. And that's what we need. But we got to talk about something like this, So Captain Cankles McTaco Tits, I'm glad to see you. Bobby Barbarian, you're the only two people in the chat. That's okay. I have a feeling that'll change. Now, the way I want to do this show, I'm not going to start off, too aggressive. If we had our Republican friends here, I'd like to ask them a question. Because at this point in time, I seriously have to know who still believes that Trump didn't do some dirty shit with Epstein. Hey, Shyla, I was wondering where you were. Who doesn't believe it? I mean, even if you're a Trump supporter, like, for instance, my man War is a Trump supporter. Yesterday, he made a comment about how they released 34,000 files, and he said it like as if Trump released that shit, okay? So I actually texted him, and I said, you do know that 97% of those files have already been released. It's only 3% of them that's new shit. And they didn't release it on their own. They got subpoenaed. And War agreed with me. He said there's something up, and there is. There is something up. And there has been for a long time. Like Shyla said, he's always been a creep. Absolutely. I'm not talking to War again. Shyla said we've already seen most of that shit. Yeah, we have. I mean, they're doing everything in their power not to release this shit. And today, a guy from the Department of Justice who basically got catfished, got caught. A video was released of him talking about how they're going to cover it up, exactly what they're going to do. And the funniest thing is there's some dating app called Hinge. And apparently this stunad was on Hinge and he met a girl. The girl was setting him up. She sought him out to do this. She was setting him up. So she got him to go on a date with her. I saw pictures of her. I'm pretty sure she's a very beautiful girl. Got him to go on a date with her. And she started questioning him about the Epstein files. And this dickhead started talking, So he described exactly what is going to take place, what they're going to do. Now, when people, you didn't know about that, Bobby? Check this out. I'll play it a few times throughout the show.
But those files do exist.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of pages of files. They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files. Leave all the liberal, Democratic people in those files.
I think they visited that Maxwell person.
Yeah.
And also involved.
She got transferred to a minimum security prison too recently, which is against BOP policy because she's a convicted sex offender. They're offering her something to keep her mouth shut.
They're offering her something to keep her mouth shut. Now, oh, God. Another thing for these people who still believe that there's nothing going on here, nothing to see. Why in the fuck would they move her? You heard what he just said. It's you're not even allowed. They can't even do that. Move a sex offender to a minimum security federal prison. But they did it. so she would keep her mouth shut. Okay. And I truly believe there will be a pardon. They're just not doing it yet because Trump doesn't want everybody to go nuts yet. But by the end of his term, he will pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. That's part of the deal. I'm sure of it. You heard that fucking audio of her talking about him like he was a god. Of course, that was her job that day. That was her job to clear him, to exonerate him. Unfortunately, it doesn't clear him. It doesn't exonerate him. She is a convicted sex offender, a convicted child molester. So her word doesn't mean shit. Okay, it doesn't mean shit. They just wanted to get her on tape saying that Trump wasn't involved. All right, now, I want to talk about some of the things we went over when me and Common debated this a couple of weeks ago. We barely debated the Epstein thing, but I was trying. Common said that 100 Epstein victims came out and said Donald Trump was never involved and they cleared him completely. Now, when he said that, some things I don't know. I'll be the first to admit. So some things I'll wait till afterwards and I'll fact check. That is so not true. Nothing like that ever took place where Epstein victims came out and cleared Donald Trump, especially 100 of them. That never happened. Yeah. Common said that. There was a couple of things he said that were wrong. Most of the stuff, well, honestly, all of it. I'm not going after Common. I'm just being honest. Everything he said on that show was wrong. A lot of it I debunked in community posts, but I could tell you now, even down to the word Lolita, he said it was a Spanish word that means young girl. And I said, I thought, it mainly meant underage girl. Well, it's not a Spanish word. It's an English word. And that book is about an underage girl. Okay. Now, the one thing I didn't know, I did not know the Lolita Express was actually called that back then. I thought that was a nickname they gave it after he got caught. That's crazy. But everything he said, and this is what happens when anybody takes Trump's side. Whatever they say turns out to be false. You could bring up anything Common said, and I could tell you it was wrong. And again, I'm not attacking him. I love Common, but it's a debate. So I got to be honest. In a debate, you fact check people. Just like Ted Kaczynski. I played that video of this fucking demented old bastard talking about how his uncle taught Ted Kaczynski in MIT. And I said he was never a student there. And Common said, well, I think he was a professor there. And I said, I don't think he was, but he kept pushing and pushing. Turns out he was never a professor there. He was an assistant professor for a short time at Harvard, never at MIT. There's no chance that John Trump ever crossed paths with Ted Kaczynski, period. Okay. So that's another thing we're going to talk about. Trump being demented. People like to talk about Joe Biden, but they just let so much go with Trump. It's like if Joe Biden ever came out and said this, they would have used the 25th Amendment and removed him from office within a month.
We're going to get him down 1,000%. It'll be numbers that nobody can even imagine. We're going to get the drug prices down, not 30 or 40%, which would be great, not 50 or 60. No, we're going to get them down 1,000%, 600%, 500%, 1,500%. Numbers that are not even thought to be achievable because I've used a certain talent that I have.
He's a certain talent that he has. Yeah, bullshit. That's his talent. Bullshit. He lied and said that that's true. Yeah, pizza math. I got news for everybody watching, especially the Republicans. No offense, but I might have to explain this to you slowly. 100% is it. Okay? Like if something costs $100, 100% of it is $100. Like it don't go any further. There can't be 101%. Okay? Then it becomes $99. It's not a thing. You can't discount something by more than 100%. That is not achievable in any form of math anywhere in the world. Okay. Otherwise, they would be paying you to take their product. He says he's going to get prices down 1,500%. So all you guys got to do is buy your prescriptions long enough and you will be a millionaire. Not only will your prescriptions be free, you're going to get paid for them. Okay? If Joe Biden ever fucking said that when he was in office, like I said, he would have been removed under the 25th Amendment immediately. Just that one statement, forget about the Ted Kaczynski thing and all the other lunatic shit this clown has said. over the years. And even just in the last few days, I mean, every day he says something maniacal, something insane. All right. So for people to still believe, and people still believe it. Okay. Did I put this one up, Shiloh? I'm not sure. I meant to if I didn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Never ending story. It doesn't. It does not. And we don't even know Bill Clinton's a chomo. We don't know that, you know, but he might be. Might be. But 80% of the elite are not child molesters. Okay. It's Trump happens to be most likely a child molester. You got to remember, and I know people don't want to believe this because nobody believes anything anybody but Trump says. Katie Johnson accused Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump of raping her. And when she talked about what Trump said to her, it sounded so fucking Donald Trump. I just believe it in general. And I'll tell you why I believe it. It's not just because it sounds like him, what she said, he said. It's that this man has been accused of sexual assault dozens of times throughout his career since the 70s. Before he was a zillionaire, you got to understand that, when he was just using daddy's money, before he ever ran for president. This is not some deep state thing. People are setting him up and trying to make him look like he's this or that. No. These women are most likely telling the truth because there's so many other women telling the same types of stories. Okay. Do I believe he had sex with Katie Johnson when she was 14? Yes. 1,000%. 1,000%. That thing Bobby put in here, he said, and may every day be a wonderful secret. That, I believe wholeheartedly Trump wrote that. I don't have no Trump derangement syndrome. You guys who believe him do. Okay. We see Trump for exactly what he is. And the Epstein estate is going to release that book. Okay. And we're going to see. But Donald Trump, without a doubt, wrote that. Now, what does that mean? And some of the other shit he said in that about enigmas and every fucking thing else. Him and Epstein were fucking underage girls. There's no question about it. Okay. Yeah, I know, but I understand why you say that, Prelude Implicit, but the reason you can't is because if one politician isn't a creep, then your whole theory is out the window. You know, you said all politicians. That's like saying I believe all black people are this or that, or all Mexican people are this, or all Italian people are this and that. You can't ever do that. You know, Obama, tell me what he did to an underage girl. You know what I mean? Even George W. Bush, tell me what he did to an underage girl. I can name dozens of presidents that never had an accusation, period. Okay. Reagan, what did he do to an underage girl? You know what I'm saying? So it's not all of them. And then we could go Senate, you know, Congress, all that shit. No group of people are all the exact same thing unless they're a group specifically for that reason. Like NAMBLA, they're all child molesters. Okay. But a bunch of people to say they're all chomos, you'd have to be able to prove it to make that statement. This is the both sides-isms. That's the problem. This is like when people say all politicians lie. So forget that Trump lies. No. Most politicians lie, maybe all, to some extent, not like Trump. This is unfucking precedented. The guy lies about his uncle teaching Ted Kaczynski. Either he's lying. I want you to tell me, is he either lying or is he suffering from dementia? Is he cognitively declining? Because you can't say it's not one of those. When he says drug prices are going to be reduced by 1,500%, is he lying or is he declining cognitively? Which one is it? It's got to be one of them. So you have to admit one of two things. Either he's a liar or he most likely has dementia, which, let's be fucking honest, Donald Trump has said and done more things to make us believe he has dementia than Joe Biden ever did. Okay? Which, by the way, the last politics show we had, that Drew Hoff fucking idiot and some other guy were in here talking, and they said that FBS covered up for Joe Biden having dementia. Do you think I was in the White House? What in the fuck do you mean? You realize I'm a guy in Wrightsville with 8,000 subs on YouTube. That's it. How the fuck would I know to cover up? What I know is they gave him a neurological exam and all that shit. And from what they said, there was no signs of dementia. No signs of dementia. Does that mean he doesn't have dementia? No. It's just like Trump's doctors lied through their fucking teeth. They said the guy is 6'4" and 230 pounds. He's built like an Easter egg. Okay? He's all flab and fat and disgustingness. Not a fucking ounce of muscle on that clown. So I don't know that Biden has dementia, but that's just the point. I don't know. How could I cover up for something I don't know is real or not? You know what I mean? I don't like any politicians personally. I don't think they're all perverts. Probably a lot of them, though. Well, listen, I mean, probably most men are perverts. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not here. I swear to God, I'm not here to stand up for any Democrat. Unless you lie about them, and I can, prove in some way you're lying. It's just like Obama. They want to say that Obama went to the island. You have no reason to believe he did that. It's so funny. Everybody went to the island, or everybody was involved with Epstein except Trump, the one guy who has a dozen pictures with Epstein, videos of him partying with Epstein, pointing out women, talking about, look at her, she's hot. You know what I mean? The comment that Epstein liked them young. How did he know that? How did he know that? And why didn't he turn him in? Because these fucking idiots also like to say Trump was the whistleblower. How? Who says? There's no proof of that. There's a theory that because of a little, argument they had, or I guess you could say, kind of a financial dispute, maybe. I don't know. There was a property that Epstein wanted, and Trump dipped in there and fucking took it from him. And Epstein did shit to Trump, and there's a talk of maybe Trump. Epstein was suing Trump, so they think maybe Trump blew the whistle on him. That's it, though. That story about him, kicking him out of Mar-a-Lago because he's a pedo. You don't even believe that's not true when Trump tells you it's not true? Trump sat on camera weeks ago and said, I kicked Epstein out because he was stealing the girls. I didn't know what for, but he was taking my employees. So even he says he didn't kick Epstein out. Of all the things he lies about, why not just say, I kicked him out because he's a pedo? I'll tell you why. Because he has to have complete and total plausible deniability. He has to be able to say, I never knew, never. Okay? To the point where he's still almost not sure. You know what I mean? Like, that's how he acts. So it's just amazing to me that people put on blinders completely and totally. I mean, you have to be deaf, dumb, and blind to not realize, or at least deaf and blind, to not realize that Trump is all over the Epstein files. Not to mention the fact that it was literally reported by the FBI. Pam Bondi sat Trump down in May and said, you're mentioned numerous times in the files. They then assigned 1,000. They assigned 1,000 FBI agents to redact his name. Now, you've had numerous people now get caught on hot mics and say, there's another guy, I forget the politician, Mike something, I forget which one it was. He got caught on a hot mic recently talking about, of course, Trump's in the Epstein files. Now, this guy from the Department of Justice. Let me guess, they're all deep state operatives? They're all rhinos? They're all what? They're all secret left-wingers? No. They just happen to be the only ones telling the truth. You have to be off your fucking rocker to think Trump is all over those files. Now, is he going to show up on a list as a customer? No, not as a customer. Do I think Epstein had people who paid him? Of course. I think that's a fact at this point, right? I think Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted because of that. But him as a customer, no. One of the survivors said yesterday that one thing Trump always bragged about, or Epstein always bragged about, was his friendship with Donald Trump. He would tell them how close they are. He also told Michael Wolff, Epstein told Michael Wolff, they were best friends for 10 years. Okay. Somebody mentioned Melania earlier, them meeting through Epstein. There's now talk, there's a chance that Epstein fucked Melania 2 years before Trump. Now, who knows if that's true, but Trump did fuck Melania for the first time on Epstein's plane. Okay. He did. Now, she wants to come out and say, oh, that's not true and threaten to sue people, but she don't want that discovery coming out. Okay. She don't want that shit. There's no question about that as far as I'm concerned. Okay. He was in a plane with a bed. He's in the Lolita Express, has a bed. Now, Common said, well, Common said something that I think was ridiculous. He said, well, but people charter planes from other people that own jets because they can't get commercial flights or whatever. That does happen, except that doesn't mean that Donald Trump is innocent. You understand? Donald Trump had his own fucking plane. So why is he on Epstein's list 7 times? The flight logs 7 times. He had his own. So what do you mean he had the charter? Because Common used the Chris Tucker as an example. Chris Tucker, he said he went on it and he didn't know what it was and blah, 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 blah. So he says, what is Chris Tucker, a pedo? No. To say that everybody who flew in that plane is a pedo is insane. It's insane. It's insanity. I never said that. But Chris Tucker was not accused of raping a 14-year-old girl with Jeffrey Epstein. Donald Trump was. Also, Chris Tucker was not best friends with him. There's not dozens of pictures and videos of them together. Chris Tucker never made a comment like, oh, Epstein loves young women. Very young. Okay. And when we were debating, I said, well, was Chris Tucker, because he brought up Michael Jackson. I said, was Chris Tucker ever accused of molesting a child with Michael? And Common said, yes, I believe he was. Well, I researched it. No, he wasn't. There was never any accusation against Chris Tucker of any kind whatsoever. Now you got Donald Trump, who was accused by Katie Johnson, plus 27 fucking times before he ever ran for president, he was accused of sexual assault. Where there's smoke, there's fire. You know what I mean? How many times? Let me tell you something. If everybody in the street is saying that guy's a drug dealer, he's a drug dealer. They're not just saying that. Why would they just say that? They know it. You know what I mean? If everybody in the street is saying that motherfucker got bodies, that's because they know he killed some motherfuckers. You know what I mean? So if everybody's accusing a guy of the same fucking thing, you can bet your ass they're most likely telling the truth. Let me see what you guys are saying. First of all, why were there 14-year-old girls working at the massage parlor at Mar-a-Lago? Exactly. JGB, Trump would walk into Miss Teen Universe beauty pageant dressing rooms while the girls were getting dressed. Known fact. Yeah, he admitted it himself. I gave up arguing with my MAGA uncle because I realized they will excuse anything at this point. Sad as it is, they will. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace, and Lauren Boebert are finally on board with pushing the files to be released. Whether it's because of midterms or they actually care, I hope it helps move things forward. Yeah. Marjorie Taylor Greene spoke yesterday with the victims, and she's a cunt, but at least she's doing this right. You know what I mean? And she's trying to break from Trump as much as possible. So the problem is that people want these files released, including a lot of Republicans. Okay. That they also, tell me this, why did Trump in the White House yesterday call it a hostile act, an act of war, basically? If these Republicans, because he wasn't talking to Democrats, he knew they were going to sign it. If these Republicans signed that discharge petition to release the files, why did he call it an act of war? Why? Guys, he's not even hiding that he's trying to cover up the fucking shit. He's basically telling you. He's telling you. So if you don't believe he's in them, and here's the thing. Now you'll say, well, we don't know that he did anything wrong. Technically, you're right. He could be in the files for a bunch of other reasons. But like he could just be there as a friend and he was here with Epstein. He was there. But why would Trump be trying to cover it up then? Like that. Whoever that was that got caught on the hot mic the other day, he said, sure, he's in the files because he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. That's a good thing. That makes Trump look good. Why would he be covering up the files if that was it? You know what it is? I don't think Trump knows exactly what it is. And he's fucking terrified. Okay? He's fucking terrified because he fucked some underage girls. I guarantee you, in his 40s, his 50s, probably his 60s. So he doesn't know. Or maybe he does. I don't know. But he's scared to death. So if there's nothing damaging in those files, why is he going out of his way to cover them up? Why is he fighting with any Republican who wants those files released? Why is he attacking anybody who wants them released? Why? Now, also, he ran on releasing the Epstein files. He talked about it a million times. It's part of the reason he got elected. He thinks, see, Trump supporters always yell at me, like Michael Hensley will be like, "Well, you know, in so many words, you know, they'll tell me I'm talking to them like they're stupid." Guys, whether or not I think Trump supporters are stupid, what's important is that Trump thinks Trump supporters are stupid. He stood, looked you in the fucking eyes through a TV, okay, and told you numerous times, "I'm going to release the Epstein files." Then, after he was told by Pam Bondi, "Your name is in them numerous times," he said, "Epstein files, what Epstein files?" And he looked you in the eyes again and said, "It's a Democrat hoax." Now, if it was a Democrat hoax, why did he ever run on releasing them? Why is it such an important thing? Why did Kash Patel make it such a big deal? Dan Bongino, why? So it's a Democrat fucking hoax, he says. But at the same time, they'll tell you the Democrats are all over them. Why didn't Joe Biden release the files? I guess the Democrats created this hoax and somehow involved themselves in them. They accused themselves of being pedophiles. So which is it? Is there Democrats in them, or is it a Democrat hoax? Which one? It's amazing to me because I've never dealt with people like this. And I'm telling you, again, I want to reiterate, Trump thinks you're stupider than any of us think. Okay? Whether we think you're stupid or not, what really matters is that he does. He will lie to your face over and over. And for almost 10 years now, he's watched. No, I think it's been 10 years. He's watched as he tells one lie after another, and you fucking guys believe it. You don't just believe it. You start repeating it verbatim. Like robots. Whatever he says, he'll do something crazy and they won't know what to say. And then Trump will come out and give an explanation for it. And then they'll repeat that exact explanation. They don't even have minds of their own. Okay, so it's amazing. The more he lies to you and you believe it, the more he's going to lie to you and not worry about you not believing it. So he just tossed this whole... Pam Bondi said, "The Epstein files are on my desk. Thousands of them. Thousands of hours of video." Then later on, after she tells Trump he's in the files, what Epstein files? I was talking about what Epstein list, because let me go back. They actually asked her about the list. What about the Epstein list? She said, "It's on my desk." That was the list. You can go back and watch the clip. The list is on her desk. After Trump decides there's no more files and they ask her, she says, no, I was talking about the files themselves are on my desk, not the list. Yeah, because there's no list anymore, right? Why is the list being covered up by Donald Trump? If you don't ask yourself that question and you can't come to the conclusion that he's involved in, or at least was involved in some dirty shit, and he's terrified of that list coming out, then you're willfully ignorant. You're choosing to be brainwashed by the world's most famous and well-documented con man in the history of the fucking world, okay? You're choosing to. Because there's no way you're that stupid. There's no way. Very sad. He's my favorite uncle, and I thought a really brilliant guy, but he got sucked into deep. Listen, there's family that I haven't talked to in years. You know what I mean? Because they're so fucking nuts about this shit, you know? And it's not just you like a guy, you support him, you vote for him. It's not that simple with them. They take it to such an extreme. You know what I mean? Yeah, pretty much. Yep. I have a few relatives just like your uncle. I read that one. Where's common sense when you need a good argument? I don't know what he's up to. He's probably playing poker or something. He does that a lot. I gave up after arguing over gerrymandering when I realized he didn't even know about census gerrymandering and the fact Dems tried to make it illegal in 2022, which they did. And now the Republicans will tell you it's the Democrats always trying to gerrymander and blah, blah, blah. Not in the once a decade, okay? Not in the middle of a fucking decade like this. That's not how it works. This is Texas. Trump told Abbott, find me 5 seats. And Abbott said, okay, that's it. As simple as that. It's just like when he called Raffensperger and he said, find me 12,000 votes. Same shit. And reps voted on no on ending gerrymandering because they only win when they redistrict the shit out of a state. Of course, they're doing everything in their power right now to make sure the Democrats can't win those midterms, and they're being ordered by Trump. There's no democracy left, and these fucking guys will talk about Republican or Democrats cheating. You're got to be out of your fucking mind. I mean, this dude caused an insurrection so he could stay in power. It didn't work, but he tried. The pro-police president, right? Pro-law enforcement. This guy released on his first day like 1,500 criminals onto the streets, one of which wound up getting, I believe, in a shootout with a cop and getting killed. Another one molested a child and got caught. Okay? 1,500 fucking people. You think he looked at any individual case and said, nope, not this one. This one, okay. This one, okay. Nope, not that one. Nope. He said, pardon them all. 140 police officers were beaten that day. Several died. He pardoned them all. He don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Don't give a fuck about the cops unless the cops are arresting black people and Mexicans. That's what they're good for to him. Once they start arresting his people, he's got to pardon them. Those cops are crazy. He won't even hang the fucking picture in the White House of the fucking police that died on January 16th or January 6th. He won't do it. Of course. Listen, man. You know Trump. Anytime there's been something he can prove, some claim about him out there, he does it immediately. Nobody wants to be called a chomo. You're the president of the United fucking States. If people are calling you a chomo and you can prove you're not, what are you're not going to do it? No, he can't prove that he's not. That's the bottom line. And it can be proved that he possibly was. It can. And also, there's another thing, guys, that people forget. Why Trump might be. Now, it took 1,000 FBI agents to redact his name in the Epstein files, meaning it was probably in there thousands of times, at the least. Okay? But there's also donors. There's donors. Some motherfucker came in here last time we did a politics show, and he actually said, listen to these words. I used to not like Trump, but the bottom line is he can't be bought. I almost fell over. He can't be bought. There's never been a president in American history who can be bought easier. The guy lifted sanctions in what, fucking Syria because they announced they were going to put a Trump tower there. The guy was bought with a fucking airplane. Okay? The guy went to the oil execs when he was running for his second term and said, give me $1 billion. I will do whatever you want. Even the oil execs reported this. I will do whatever you want. This fucking guy hated electric cars. Remember? He hated electric vehicles. That's all he would rant about for years. He had a meeting with some executives from car companies that build EVs and Elon, of course. All of a sudden, electric cars were the shit. Elon started donating. Tesla. I'm buying one myself, Trump said. The guy's been bought 1,000 different ways. His whole crypto scam is so people can buy him. He owns 80% of the coin. 80%. The foreign leaders, everybody else, they want his ear. They buy his coin. He finds out how much they bought. Boom. He speaks to them. It's a back channel to fucking Donald Trump. That's all that is, that crypto thing. Why do you think he released it the day before he got inaugurated? Come on, guys. That's another thing. He hated crypto, remember? Had a meeting with some crypto execs. Boom, crypto's the shit now. I'm the crypto president. He can't be bought. What do you mean? I think so, maybe. But he didn't. So who knows? Who cares even? Like I always said, who cares? Trump can't read. No. Assholes, yes. I did have oral with my brother. Who cares? It's not like I was another time, Tony. Another time. I love the poorly educated. That's what he said. Yep. Talking out both sides of his mouth, as always. Yes. Why wasn't Trump exposed under the last administration? Doesn't matter. What is that? Jeff Nadeau. Wow, he's right. He writes like a real Trump supporter with the random capitalized letters and stuff. Trump derangement syndrome. That's what morons say. You know what I mean? That's what morons who can't possibly debate say. Meanwhile, Biden, you guys talked about Biden like he was the Antichrist. You guys didn't have Biden derangement syndrome, right? No, of course not. Of course not. Not right before midterms, no. Okay, Joe, whatever you say, Joe Bag of Donuts, whatever you say. I told you in a comment recently, you are so fucking brainwashed. You're one of the worst of all of them, honestly. I showed this motherfucker, I put in a community post that Trump had lower approval ratings during his term than Biden did. And he said, well, what did you say, Joe Bag of Donuts? It was the biggest bunch of bullshit I ever heard. No matter what Trump does, if Trump rapes a baby on live TV tomorrow, Joe Bag of Donuts will tell us why it's good for the country. Why he was doing the right thing, or that he didn't do it at all. I'm sorry, Joe, but that's you, man. You're as ignorant as they come when it comes to this fucking guy, man. You are as brainwashed as they fucking come. Trump mode the show, yes. So they happen to end up in the Democratic areas, maybe because there's less racism and more community in those areas. Yeah. He's always been bought and paid for. Tesla, yes. Go get yourself a Tesla. Israel owns Trump. Adelstein and his wife gave millions to get their way in Israel. Absolutely. Not just that. When we're talking about, people that bought him, what about what's the one guy's name? I don't remember. You could look it up. Several people have paid for pardons and gotten them. And this one kid, I don't remember what the fuck his name was, but he was serving a lot of years. And his mother went to a dinner, $1 million plate dinner, whatever the fuck it was, gave her $1 million. And next thing you know, her son's pardoned. That wasn't her buying him. I mean, of course it is. Anybody could buy a pardon off him. Rudy and Giuliani talked about it, how they were going to sell pardons for $2 million or whatever the fuck it was. And that's what he does. He is selling pardons, So, Biden should release them. He would have. Listen, I don't know. You know what the problem is? I'm going to tell you the truth why I think the Democrats didn't release them. Because Democrats don't know how to win fucking elections. They don't know how to do any fucking thing right. Okay? They're pussies. They are absolute pussies. So even if they had the dirt on Trump, they probably wouldn't have released it. You know what I mean? But he's in the files, guys. So if you're going to say, well, if he's in the files, why didn't they release them? Guys, there's no more question of whether he was in the files. It's not just me saying it. The FBI said it. Pam Bondi said it. He's in the files. Okay? So why they didn't release him, I don't know and I don't care. That's in the past. That's in the past. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that there's one party going out of their way to cover them up, and it ain't the Democrats. One party's trying to cover them up. One party is trying to get them released. That's it. That's what matters, is what's happening now. Oh, I read that one. Sorry, I'm putting up old comments. Yeah, I don't believe you, Joe. Joe, what do you think? Do you think Trump's covering up the Epstein files or what? Tell me what you think. Pay for play president. Yeah. No, the Silk Road guy's another dude. No, I can't remember. Anybody by any chance want to donate? Any chance of that? Paul Walzak, mother Elizabeth Fago, paid for a pardon for her son who had been convicted of tax crimes. Fago attended a $1 million per plate fundraising dinner for President Trump's super PAC, and 3 weeks after the event, Walzak received a presidential pardon. Now, he's not the only one. There's other cases too. A nursing home executive who pleaded guilty to tax fraud. Walzak withheld over $10 million in taxes from his employees and used the funds for personal luxury items. In April 2025, President Trump pardoned Walzak, which prevented him from serving an 18-month. Oh, it was only 18 months. Jesus Christ. You paid $1 million to get him out of 18 months? What the fuck? 18-month prison sentence and paying $4 million in restitution. Oh, that's probably the big part. She saved $3 million. There you go. No, not you. What do you mean? I didn't say you were, Soto. Joe Bag of Donuts, not you. See, the problem with you, Joe Bag of Donuts, is like you're the quintessential Trump supporter. You will never admit that he's wrong. Never will you say he did this or that wrong. The problem with you guys is there is no debate. Trump is right. Everybody else is wrong. Trump can be trusted. Everybody else is lying. You know, that's the problem. It's all I want to do is see one of you really be like, no. This he fucked up, or this he did wrong, or he is in those files or something. But you won't give an inch. That's why I basically just ignore you now. You know? Look how Jack Smith dropped the ball on the 34 felonies. Yeah, I know. Disgusting. And Merrick Garland, that pussy. They didn't want to look like, they were, politicizing the Justice Department. They could have fucking made it so that they could have prosecuted him for January 6th and Trump would have never been able to run for a second term. You know what I mean? And they did nothing. Oh, that's all right. It's all right. No, don't worry about it. I just think maybe somebody. I think there are a lot of powerful, high-ranking people in the files. There is a video of a Prince of England at Jerry Epstein's house, for God's sake. What about Trump? And Clinton pardoned Richards. Who you mean? I'm not sure exactly who you mean. Garland is a coward. He is. And so is Biden, quite frankly. You know what I mean? Biden fucked us up. He's the idiot that stayed in, as long as possible so that Kamala only had, 110 days or something to make her case? Come on. Anyway, what can I say? I gave it a shot. I said, I'll do a politics show. Maybe I'll make some money on there. Completely failed at that. So hopefully tomorrow morning, man. It's payday tomorrow. Maybe it'll be a better day. But I'm going to start doing these more often. I just don't know how. I don't know how and I don't know where. I might create a whole new channel because the bottom line is YouTube is never pushing this channel out into the algorithm no matter what I make videos about. That's long gone. Yeah, no doubt, Soto. Thanks for being here, brother. And I wasn't accusing you of anything. I swear to God. I love you. Joe Bag of Donuts pisses me off. Yeah, it's no bullshit. Well, we could get into that too. Three months, the slowest job growth since 2020, I believe, COVID. This fucking guy fires the chick from the Department of Labor and Statistics. That's what I told you guys were Project 2025. You didn't believe me. I said he's going to fire millions of federal workers, okay, and heads of departments and everything else, and he's going to put in loyalists. He doesn't give a fuck. This is like, remember when Trump said about COVID, stop testing people. You keep finding cases because you keep testing people. In other words, Trump didn't give a fuck who had COVID. He just didn't want you finding out about it. Okay, he didn't care who died from it. It didn't matter. He said, stop the testing and we won't find any new cases. Well, it's the same type of thing now. He's gonna ignore the actual real shit that's going on, the real numbers and everything else and percentages. And he's going to put loyalists in all these departments so that they can basically tell the American public what he wants to tell them. The next guy will be telling people he's creating 500,000 jobs a month. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Meanwhile, July was the slowest month. 17,000 fucking jobs. I think that was the slowest month since 2008. Okay? 17,000 jobs. Terrible. Everything is up. Prices of everything is up. You can't say it's not. Okay. The tariffs. This fucking idiot. Let's get into this. Trump said that so far he's brought in $15 trillion in investments, mostly from tariffs. Okay. Think about that for a second. 15 trillion. Like 2 weeks ago, it was 10 billion. Now it's 15 trillion a couple of weeks later. You realize the United States' entire GDP is, I believe, 28%. Or 28 trillion, 28 trillion. So basically, he can add 15 trillion to that now. 15 trillion. You got to be fucking retarded to believe this. Meanwhile, when you go to the website where they provide the receipts and the real numbers, it was about 2.6 trillion, and 1.3 trillion of that was raised under Biden. Again, if Biden said he raised $15 trillion, he would have been removed from office immediately under the 25th Amendment. Only Trump can get away with this shit. Trump is likely in the files, but being in the files don't necessarily mean you did anything wrong. George Clooney is in the files because he had a fling with Maxwell. That doesn't make him a chomo. Is George Clooney going out of his way to get the files covered up? Joe Bag of Donuts, that's what I mean. George Clooney was not accused of raping a girl with Jeffrey Epstein. George Clooney is not in a dozen pictures with Epstein and videos and everything else. George Clooney never made a comment like Epstein loves women on the younger side, very young. George Clooney didn't. Of course, there's tons of people in the list that they did nothing wrong. Okay? But we're talking about Trump. I asked you what you think about that. You say he's in the files, but being in the files don't necessarily mean he did anything wrong. No. But the whole bunch of other shit tells us he did. The main thing, the fact that he's going out of his way to cover this up. Joe Bag of Donuts, is Trump trying to cover up the Epstein files right now? Is he trying to stop the release of them? Yeah. Yep. 15 trillion. This is what he said. I swear to God. You want to see it? I mean, I know you believe me, but just in case any of you don't, I want you to really think about that. All you Trump supporters, this fucking guy who you claim doesn't lie more than any other politician and isn't demented at all, doesn't have dementia, said that he's raised $15 trillion in investments, mostly from tariffs, which, by the way, I know you guys don't believe this either, but he's not bringing in shit. He's taxing us. The money he's bringing in is us being taxed. We pay the tariffs. The importer always pays the tariffs. You see, they just changed it now so that even packages under $800 are going to be tariffed. I try to order shit now, I swear to you, and some of the websites won't even deliver to the United States. They're in China, they're in different parts of Europe, they're everywhere. They won't even deliver to the United States. They won't ship because of the tariff. Because basically, if they show up and the importer doesn't pay the tariff, they lose. You know? So even if you order some shit from China right now, you are paying a tariff on it. You are. And he banks on his supporters not knowing how tariffs actually work. They should take a basic economy class. I know. I think he's trying to stop the release of the files, but not for the reasons you think. Of course, Joe. Because you can't deny that he's trying to stop the release of the files. But he's 100% innocent in your mind. And Trump was the only guy in Palm Beach who helped with the Florida case. It isn't just a theory. How did he help? In what way? How did he help? Tell me. Oh, in a civil case. In a civil case. Okay. All right. Well, in a civil case. And that's because Epstein was suing him. That's why. So you're not talking about a criminal case or anything like that. You're talking about a civil case. And by the way, Bradley Edwards, so that means it's true? Personally, they're protecting a whole lot of people. That's why it doesn't matter if Trump's on a list. I think it matters. He's the president of the United States. But yeah, you're right. There's a whole lot of very important, very wealthy people on there. No doubt about it. No doubt. Well, again, even if he did, and Joe Bag of Donuts, honestly, I have to research it. But you would say the same thing to me, no matter what I said, just like you're doing now. You don't think he's in it for those reasons. If I told you the same thing about a lawyer, that fought some case against Trump, you'd say, well, I'm supposed to believe him. I'd say, well, he represented 70 victims. You'd say, so fucking what? He's a liar. Lawyers lie. You know I can't win. You won't let us win in that situation. You'll just keep saying that we're wrong somehow and that Trump is right. No, I don't think I'll check it out, Joe Bag of Donuts, but it doesn't matter in the long run. You realize that, right? It does not matter. It's a civil case you're talking about. Even if he did help, it's a civil case. So what difference does that make? And why do you think Trump did that? You think he just volunteered? Do you know about the beef they had over the real estate, over the property and shit? Oh, shit, I got my cigarettes. I got to do it. I got to smoke a cigarette, guys. Wow, what, Joe? Wow, what? Hold on a sec, guys. What are you saying wow to? Exculpatory evidence never matters when it comes to Trump. How is that exculpatory evidence? How is that, Joe? If he helped in a civil case, it's exculpatory evidence? How? I don't front about Trump. You know what I mean? I don't, if something is wrong about Trump and I know it's wrong, I'll say it's wrong. Yeah, I know. Well, I haven't had one in like 5 hours. Some shit like that. I don't know. It's been a while. I found my other vape. This is Cool Mint. This is much better because it's much more like a fucking actual cigarette, But still, every now and then you need a cigarette. Joe Bag of Donuts, you think there's any chance that Trump left himself out of whatever information he gave to that lawyer to save his own ass? You think that he just told on Jeffrey Epstein? And he knows goddamn well it's not going to be a problem because Epstein isn't going to fucking tell on himself. So you think that's a possibility, Joe Bag of Donuts? Look. Wait. Hold on. I'm trying to find it now. I can't find it. This is what Joe Bag of Donuts is making a big deal out of. Asked about Epstein's relationship with Trump, he replied, meaning, the fuck is his name? Bradley Edwards. He replied, the only thing I can say about Trump is that he is the only person who in 2009, he literally, Joe Bag of Donuts said it pretty much verbatim. Okay? This is what happens when you're seeking out anything you can find to try to make it look like your guy is innocent. Joe Bag of Donuts, you probably looked it up while I was doing the show. Asked about Epstein's relationship with Trump, he replied, "The only thing I could say about President Trump is that he's the only person who in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, 'Let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know.'" I wonder if Joey Molino knows that about Trump, since he's such a big supporter. There's a word for that, right? Bro, Joe Bag of Donuts, if anything, this proves what I always said about Trump. He will throw anyone under the bus to save his own ass. He was also fucking subpoenaed. He was subpoenaed, bro. How would it look if Donald Trump ducked that subpoena and refused to talk to the attorney? How would it look? He had no fucking choice, bro. Of course. So and who knows what he did, because look, Edwards said Trump was very helpful in the information he gave and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, of course. So Trump actually said, well, I wasn't involved. Oh my God, I can't believe that. But had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him. Yeah, exactly. He avoided a deposition, Joe Bag of Donuts. You don't realize why that is? You don't realize why that is? He did what he had to do to avoid a deposition. Joe Bag of Donuts, come on, bro. He indicated to Bradley Edwards that he never did anything untoward whatsoever. Trump did that. Oh my God. I can't believe it. Joe, you're desperate, bro. You're desperate. You are fucking desperate. And again, it doesn't even say that he told on Epstein about Epstein molesting anyone or raping any child or anything. It just says he gave him information that checked out. That could be anything. Bobby Berberian, $10. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. See? Joe Bag of Donuts, I'm telling you, bro, you have to be deprogrammed. You have to be. If I said that anything about Biden that he was cleared of, you would say he's guilty. It's just like Common. Common in the beginning of the debate made a point that just there's no guilt by association. You know what I mean? Or like if he's friends with a drug dealer who just got busted, that doesn't mean he's a drug dealer. You know what I mean? But at the end, he said basically, that if somebody's accused of something, like, let me put it a better way. He said that Joe Biden was guilty. And I said, did they find any impeachable offenses? He said, yes. I said, he wasn't impeached, but they found him. The only reason he wasn't impeached is because the Democrats basically put on a good case. Like, oh, so like if a guy gets convicted of murder and he wins the trial, it don't matter. It just happens to be that his defense lawyer put on a good case. I mean, no. If he was exonerated, he was cleared. It doesn't matter why. He was cleared, period. So, like that's literally the Republicans are the prosecution, the Democrats are the defense. If there's rock solid evidence, how could the Democrats defeat that in any way, shape, or form? They can't. But if I asked Joe Bag of Donuts, was Biden guilty of certain things, he would say yes, no matter what. It says he had good information that checked out and helped us so that we didn't have to take a deposition of him. So he helped him so he wouldn't have to do a deposition. He didn't want to be deposed. You know why, Joe Bag of Donuts? Because if he was deposed, as you know, he'd have to say under oath that he was never involved in anything. If he doesn't get deposed, then he just helps out once he's subpoenaed. He ain't got to say shit under oath. He could just say, I wasn't involved in anything, untoward, as he says. I wasn't involved in anything, any type of crime. Nope. But if he gets deposed and they ask him about certain things, he has to answer under fucking oath. So there you go, Joe Bag of Donuts. Anyway, guys, I got to get going. I'll see you guys in the morning. We'll talk about pizza. I love you all. And until next time, salute.